Ooh.
Good morning. Please join me in welcoming Rose Zhang. Rose, I know it's been a while since then in your golf life, but can you take me back to being here in the fall with Stanford and the 63?
It was super incredible. That was the first women's collegiate event that was ever played here at Pebble, and it was just a super exciting week for everyone. All the teams were super excited. We were in the lodge. They had accommodations for us, so that was really cool. And that week was just a week of pure excitement. We had a bunch of dinners, and at one point we were registering for our fall quarter classes, so that was really exciting for us when we were just trying to figure out the school system. But that 63 as well, it came as a blur. It was the second round, and I was preparing myself to just be able to hit fairways and greens, because that's what you have to do here. The greens are tiny, and one of the caddies in our group actually kept all my stats for the round, and I apparently hit 18 greens, and it was a little bit windy that day, so everything it really does help when you're out here and being able to hit greens and giving yourself a lot of good birdie opportunities. So that's basically what I did. I was able to shoot a low number. I was making a lot of great putts. And yeah, it was just a pretty dreamy week.
Fast forward 8 months later, how have you changed? How has your golf changed to get to this moment?
Well, one, I am not an amateur anymore, so now I'm a professional, and that changes a lot of things. But in the past month, it's been very crazy, hectic, but I've been enjoying every moment. There's a lot more attention, a lot more media, but it's kind of expected when you're doing well and when you're the rookie trying to go out here and play the best you can. So I've just been taking everything in my stride. I, had a full collegiate season, 2 seasons, and playing the last 2 events as a professional. A lot of experience came out of those events, and I really felt that my game was ready for the next level, so here I am.
We're going to open it up to questions. Steve?
Professional career so far has exceeded a lot of expectations. Has it exceeded your expectations?
It certainly has. I would have never expected myself to be in this position, and just being able to be in contention has been incredible, feeling-wise, and I feel like my game has been on par with a lot of the professionals and the veterans out here, but yeah, it's not something that I anticipated, and I've just felt like these positions have just been, I guess, in a way, it has helped me to really realize that I have a lot of potential and I can become better, get better, but I'm always just someone to try to put my foot forward and improve even more. So I never really thought about results-wise, how I would end up, but I assumed that the transition was going to be a lot more difficult, for sure.
And a second one for me. How is this golf course in this setup different than the one where you shot 63?
Certainly. Well, it is a USGA kind of setup golf course, and it's a major championship. The tee boxes are going to be a little further back. I've been playing a couple tees that were further than what I had at the Carmel Cup, and you have longer irons in, and I think the greens are going to be a lot more firmer and quicker, assuming what the weather is going to be doing. But by the time it comes to Thursday, we're going to be having some quick greens. So that's definitely going to change up a lot of how we're playing this week and how we're going to, use numbers and figure out bounces.
Todd?
Rose, a couple for you. One, what were a couple of the highlights from the round here? As far as birdie putts you made, or yeah, well, obviously you didn't have up and downs. So what were the highlights?
Yeah, it's been a year, so it's been a little bit more difficult to recollect all the shots that I've hit, but I remember I hit a really incredible shot on 18. I was able to hit my second shot to the front of the green and then have a little putt up, two putt for a birdie. That was the final closer for me to shoot a 63. And then there were a couple holes where I felt like were very difficult par holes with the wind picking up that day. I birdied 7, hit a really flight down, probably wedge shot, and hit it right next to the hole. So that allowed me to get a little easy birdie. And then on 8, the winds were also picking up, but we had to lay up in the front of the ledge, so I hit a really good shot there. And then from there, I hit around like a 6 iron, from what I remember, and it went probably 30 feet away from the hole, but at that time, it was just a very difficult shot, especially with that ledge having so much wind, and it was one of the purest shots that I hit of the day. So even the pars were incredible, and that allowed me to steady my round and keep making birdies without any bloodshed.
It's funny you say that, it's hard to remember, but it's got to be one of the more special rounds of your life, really, given where it was and the record.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, I feel like that round in particular was a little bit of a blur just because I was so autopilot. I had David, he's a local caddy here, on my bag, but one funny dynamic that caddies have in this event is they can't talk to you. They're not allowed to give you advice because only your coach and assistant coach are allowed to. So he was just on my bag, and we were just walking, talking about other things, non-golf related. And yeah, that entire event, I didn't even know that I hit 18 greens. It was, now that I remember it, I didn't take a wedge out. So it really helped that that was the stat. And you really have to do that at Pebble out here just because the greens are so small and the rough is thick, especially this week. They've grown it out, and you're going to have some really bad lies. So fully coming prepared to what's to be expected out here. But that week was certainly one of the best golf rounds that I've ever played.
Rose, on your left to Amy.
Hi, Rose. You said 2 weeks ago at Baltusrol you didn't feel like you had been able to give your game the attention you wanted to going into that major championship. How would you assess where your game is heading into this week?
Definitely. I was able to practice a little bit more than I have been before KPMG. So, at least I have a little bit of repetition in me. But at the same time, I had a pretty horrible travel couple days in the beginning of the week last week. And I've just been trying to take care of my body a little bit more. I've been sitting for around 8 to 10 hours in the time that I was there at the airport and in the hotel, hopping on, I guess, Ubers and hopping on flights. But I was able to go home for a little bit and get a little massage, was able to practice at my home course, and spent 3-4 hours there. And it was really nice to catch up with friends that I practiced with and grew up with, and at the same time work on my game a little more.
Given how well you played down that final stretch at KPMG, does that change at all how you approach this week, your goals for what would be a good week for you?
Yeah, well, in order to be in contention and play well, you have to make the cut first, right? So that is the first goal. And then, if I make it, if I play well, we'll just continue from there. So it's the same mindset as what I had at KPMG. Not any expectations on how I finish, but I certainly do have expectations on how I should perform and how I should play the sport.
Right in front of you, Deron.
We talked when you were at Stanford a couple of times. How did that prepare you for this smooth transition? In what ways did Stanford make this transition as smooth as it has been?
It was essential. There's so many different components. First and foremost, I think one thing to address is NIL and how college athletes are able to be compensated and have sponsorships, have agencies that represent them, and they can create their own brand and company. And that changes the entire dynamic because it allowed me to not only just take advantage of becoming really have good relationships with a lot of different companies, but at the same time, I can kind of tap into the real professional world before I even do get into this area. And I was able to sign with Excel. Kevin has been life-saving in my entire process of playing professional events and navigating my schedule. And that has allowed me to really just not think about a lot of things off the golf course because I had all my work done in college, and all those relationships were already connected and are slowly developing more and more, and just building more on that. And in addition, my teammates have always kept me grounded. They have always just been with me, inspired me to push myself to even greater heights. They really humble me. They've been just great supporters, but at the same time, they're like, you're not that great. You're just a regular student, and you're also our teammate, so shut up and do your own thing. But it's been really cool to be around the people that I am around at Stanford.
And one other thing, why have you clicked so well with Michelle Wie, and in what specific ways has she helped guide you?
In a sense, I think that she's just an incredible person, very personable, very easygoing, and I think that immediately just allowed our dynamic to be very natural. And I think on her part, that's just been amazing because, as an amateur golfer, as a younger golfer, it is easy to just stay back and just say, hey, you're just like amazing, you're an idol, you're just a model for so many younger generations, and I've watched you on TV ever since. But for her to reach out and be that kind and give me the advice that she's given me, that allows everything to just be so much easier, more free-flowing. And she's a Stanford alum, so we have a lot of common ground in that area. We talk about all the activities that are on campus and what she's done in her years, what I've been doing, and that allows just for so much more natural connection. And she's incredible. This is her last stretch, but I'm really honored to be able to just be a part of it. I'm going to be playing with her this afternoon, so it'll be cool to just see her in her element in the last couple days. And I'm super excited for what she's doing to come because she has a lot of big things ahead of her, not just from golf. And that inspires me to just continue to do my thing, not only in the golf world, but even, outside of it.
On your left to Kent.
You mentioned earlier that you're working to improve your game to reach your potential. How do you feel your game needs to improve in order to reach that potential?
There's a couple things. Just being more strategic with where I should be placing the ball. As a professional, you do need to learn how to conserve your energy. So grinding week in, week out is very tiring, and you kind of need to understand, hey, put the ball in the right places so you don't have to be grinding week in, week out. But on top of that, we can always work on wedge game. We can always work on short game, bunker, putting. Putting is a huge, huge thing. And being able to put the ball next to the hole rather than always grinding for a 4-footer or 5-footer for par is part of that conservation of energy. So this is just a couple things that, a professional has to do to be able to be more consistent, and the schedule is pretty overbearing, so you're gonna have to be working a lot in between. So being more efficient is very important.
What's your favorite hole out here and why?
Favorite hole. I would say the iconic seventh hole, obviously. But I actually think number three, wait, sorry, number four. Number four is just such a pretty hole, and I love that hole so much. It was in the Carmel Cup, but we saw a dog trying to chase a seal for like good 40 minutes, and especially on 4, 5, and 6, that's where everyone's waiting for a lot of shots. There's a lot of wait time there, so we were just watching an owner screaming at its dog and just trying to get that dog to come back. So a lot of good memories on that hole, and it helps that I was birdieing in between. So.
Back left, Anthony.
Hi, Rose. Tomorrow you're playing a practice round with Kelly and Sadie. Just what does it mean to you to be able to share this with your former teammates as they prepare to play in their first U.S. Open?
It's so incredible. I actually played with them yesterday, too. I played with them yesterday and also played with an upcoming rising junior star, Angela Zhang. And it's been really cool just to be with them. The dynamic has been as it has always been. There's no change in anything. They're stellar players. I can see their games being just so amazing, so solid. I'm excited for what they're going to do this week, but we've been cracking jokes the entire time, just talking about our life dynamics and a lot of different things. So it's just been a very easygoing kind of practice round, and we've been getting our work in as well.
You're also playing with Annika. Is there anything you hope to take away from that experience?
Oh, 100%. Annika has always been such a great role model for younger generations, for even the golfers out here on how they should, work to invest in their lives after golf. And she's been such a pivotal person for the entire game. I think that just being able to talk to her or walk inside the ropes with her and kind of just gain some sort of advice. I think just being alongside of her, you can learn a lot. And I remember back in, when I was playing the ANA Junior Inspiration, she would have these little talking sessions with the juniors, and I was able to really ask her one question, which was, how do you prevent burnout, essentially, and how do you prevent yourself from losing your identity in the game? And she's always said to smell the roses, and that was one of her favorite lines, and even to this day. So, she's just such a great person to talk to when it comes to the longevity of her career.
Two more, Doug.
Rose, it would seem the attention has kind of snowballed from maybe start of the year through Augusta and the NCAAs and winning, et cetera. Have you found yourself comfortable with the attention, and how have you been received by the LPGA players who see all this attention heaped on you?
Yeah, I would say, comfort would be a little bit of a stretch. It's still very new, but I will say I'm just taking everything in my stride. I've been having a great time, and I feel like the platform that I've been given has been really, really incredible. So I haven't been taking anything for granted. And apart from the LPGA pros, I just received so much support, and everyone in the locker rooms have been super kind to me. So there's absolutely no bad blood there. I've just been really thankful that they've welcomed me to the tour. They've just been saying welcome, congratulations, and I'm excited to just spend time with you for the rest of the season. And that really provides me a lot of comfort because everyone's just so great, and I've really appreciated their support and just genuine appreciation for what I've been doing. So it's been really cool.
And then on expectations, actually the word you used I thought was better was anticipation. As you're getting ready to turn pro, surely you thought about what could happen, how you respond to it, preparing that way. What were you anticipating? Maybe a worst case, best case scenario.
Okay. Worst case scenario would probably be me not knowing how to play golf and shooting in the 80s on my pro debut. And then or maybe duffing a shot being the worst shot of all time. That's kind of what I was thinking, worst case scenario. But I think in general, never really thought about a best case scenario. It was more so just trying to hit that ball, like just get it up in the air, hit it in the fairway, hit it on the green, and do your own thing. So I genuinely have not thought about what place I should have finished, because even though I was an amateur and I played a lot of professional events and I've made cuts, etc., it's still different once you're on tour, because you have to adjust to the tour life, you have to adjust to media, you have different obligations. So being able to figure out what I should be doing inside the ropes definitely adds a different dynamic to when you're playing, and that's why I haven't expected much out of me in terms of what I should be placing or how I should perform.
Last question here, back left, Paolo.
Hey, Rose, kind of going off of that, you mentioned earlier that you felt like the transition to the pro game hasn't maybe been as difficult as you expected. I'm curious what you feel like has factored into that. Like, why has that been? Has it been something you feel like you've done in the lead up to it, or is it more of just the circumstances?
I believe there's a lot of things, like I said before, NIL and Kevin, Excel, they've been great for helping me transition over, just because they have a lot of LPGA Tour players on their team, and they've been around this before. Gilly, the transition from me getting a caddy has been really, really smooth, and Gilly and I have been working really well together thus far. So that obviously helps a lot with his years of experience on tour. He's been on tour for around 26 years, so that definitely helps when you're just a starting rookie. And on top of that, I realized that just the transition from college, I've always already put that in my mind that professional golf is going to be very difficult. So with that kind of mindset, later on, when I actually did come over to the professional worlds, I've already prepared myself for all scenarios of just being able to grind, not having the greatest luck, and that puts me in a position where I can expect everything, and when things come out good, I just roll with it. So all of those factors really help me.
Rose, thanks for your time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.